Hey guys. Okay, so today we're practicing using some of our vocabulary from our vocabulary chart. We're first going to talk about classifying angles, okay, between acute, obtuse, right, reflex, and straight. So really quickly, an acute angle measures less than 90 degrees, so any number that's less than 90 is going to be an acute angle, and this is an example, okay, less than 90. Obtuse is an angle that's measuring greater than 90 degrees. We should also probably say less than 180, okay? In fact, I'll add that in here, because that's another detail. Less than 180, okay? And here's an example of what it looks like. So greater than 90, but less than 180. A right angle would be if it was exactly 90 degrees, and you could tell because there's a square in the corner. A straight angle forms a straight line, okay? It's actually, just so we're clear, a straight angle actually has two sides to it. You know, there's this side and this side, but instead of having a bend at that vertex Q, it's perfectly straight. So it's not one straight line, it's two rays, or two lines that are an endpoint and an arrow that come out of the same vertex that just happen to be in a straight line. Okay, and a reflex angle, let me erase these, is more than 180 degrees. Okay, so that's when you're opening more than, and it's really important that you have the arc drawn on the outside to show that you're going past 180, because without that arc it just looks like an obtuse angle. Here's one that looks like an acute angle, but with the arc around the outside we can tell that it's reflex. Okay, so now we're going to use that knowledge. Alright, and for each one of these, let's see, and I've got a picture and that is open pretty wide, so that one is obtuse. This one, I forgot to draw the square in the corner. There should be a square there. That is a right angle. Okay, the next one is an acute angle. I can tell because I've got the arc on the inside. Alright, this one is a straight angle. And this one has the arc on the outside, so it looks acute, but with the arc on the outside, it's actually a reflex angle. Okay, so those are all the pictures. This might be a screen that you might pause on if I'm going too fast for you to write things down. You might pause periodically just to catch up and fill in, you know, your words and so forth. Okay, now we're doing this from numbers. I see 90 degrees. 90 degrees on the dot would be a right angle. 34, that's less than 90, so that's acute. 98 degrees, that's more than 90, but it's not past 180 yet, so it's obtuse. 295, and you know what, while we're talking about it, 300, they're the exact same answer, okay? Those are both past 180. Anything past 180 is a reflex angle. 180 on the dot is a straight angle. 65, that's less than 90, that's acute. Whoa, what happened? Here it is, acute. And 140 is, it's more than 90, but it's less than 180. Okay, so here might be a time to pause if you need to make sure you have these words written on each line correctly. I certainly can drag and drop them a lot faster than you can write. Okay. Alright, this next screen, in class we are just reinforcing what these things are. Intersecting lines are any two lines that just cross. Now, This does not have to cross in an X. It can just, this blue line I've highlighted in blue can just come down and meet the yellow line. They don't have to cross, they just have to touch right here at that vertex. Or it can cross and be an X. Perpendicular lines, remember, are special intersecting lines. And what makes them special is they intersect at a right angle, square in the corner. And here again, I don't have to have them make a cross. Okay, it can be like this upside down T shape and still be perpendicular. The critical thing is that the two lines meet and there's a right angle. Okay, interior versus exterior. All right, these angles by themselves, this one would appear to be acute. Okay, and if I draw an arc on the interior inside of the angle, then we would call this acute because we're talking about the interior. But if I were to draw the arc on the outside, that would be the exterior angle. I would consider this a reflex angle. Okay, so let's go over to the second picture. If I draw an arc on the inside, an interior, that's obtuse because we're talking about the interior angle. If I say exterior, then I'm going on the outside and we're considering that a reflex angle. So exterior angles are usually reflex. Interior angles could be acute or obtuse. I suppose they could even be a right angle, actually, to be honest. Okay, I could draw it as a right angle as well. Okay, so just so that we understand. And interior angle and exterior angle is not in your vocab chart, so this would be not one that you could look at it another way. All right, naming angles. I'm going to fast forward, or not fast forward, but I'm going to go to a blank screen for a second that's not in your notes. Okay, so I've got an angle that I've drawn here, all right, and this is like a really simple basic drawing, and with a little 1 inside next to the vertex, we could call that angle 1. Okay, now if these are labeled, all right, B is the vertex point, and you can also call an angle by its vertex point. However, the times when you can only use a single letter to describe a vertex are not very often, because usually our diagrams are much more complex than just a simple angle. Okay, so usually we can't always get away with calling something an angle by a single letter. We usually end up calling it by its 3 letters. Okay, and basically when we're doing that, we're tracing the path from one letter to the vertex in the middle to the other letter. Okay, so what I just traced out in order is angle A, B, C. But I could trace it the other way and start at C, B, A. Either one of those is acceptable. The critical thing I want you to see is that the vertex letter of B has to be in the middle. Okay, I cannot say angle BAC. Okay, because if I trace out BAC, let's use, I'm just going to erase the highlighting for the moment here. If I trace out CAB, that makes a different angle. Okay, so the order of the letters matters. Vertex has to be the middle. Okay, so here's why we kind of absolutely need to have a 3-letter naming system. Because if I take this line, come on, I'm saying erase. if I take this line and extend it and put a D down here, then angle B could be this angle, which I had labeled 1 before, but now we have another angle right here. Okay, so angle B is not enough anymore to just name an angle because my drawing's too complex. And all I did was extend one line. I mean, try to imagine now if I also added in, you know, another line right here and another one right here. Okay, there's E, F. Okay, so I've now just complicated this a lot. So now if I want to talk about a specific angle, I have to use 3 letters. And B has to be the center of each one. So for example, if I was talking about this angle right here, okay, from here to here, I would have to say angle E, B, C. Okay. Or if I was talking about this angle from here to here, I'd have to say D, B, F. Or I could say angle F, B, D. Either one of those is fine. The F and the D, the starting letter and the ending letter don't matter. It's the middle letter that has to be the B. Okay? So naming our angles. Angle 1. Okay, angle 1 is right here. All right. That's angle 1. And our letters are angle A, F, and B. You could also say BFA if you want. And what kind of angle is that? Well, that angle is acute. Okay. Angle 2, we're talking about this angle right here, and I see a square in the corner. Okay, so that tells me something special. We're going to call this angle CFB. You could also say BFC, doesn't matter. And what kind of angle is this? It is a right angle. Angle 3, it's right here. And that's DFC. And that also appears to be acute. So we got a word bank over here. I hope you see that we're using that. Okay, angle 4. Okay, and we've got angle E, F, D, or DFE, either one. And that is also acute. Whoa. Okay, angle 5. All right, right here. And its 3 letters are EFA. Hey, just like this school used to be. EFA or AFE, either one. And that angle, boy, that's pretty wide open. That's going to be obtuse. All right, so let's practice. We have some more vocabulary words here. I just need to erase some of my highlighting. Oh, my pen's not being too cooperative with me today. Okay, next one talks about, now I want to go back, angles 1 through 5, we use 2 rays right in a row, but we don't have to talk about 2 rays right in a row. This says angle CFA, so I'll start with my you know, you can trace it out with your finger, or I'm going to trace it in highlighter because I can highlight and then erase for each one. C, F, A. Okay, so I'm pretty much ignoring this ray, and this ray with the B. I'm ignoring those, and I'm just talking about these two rays. What kind of angle do they make? Oh, but important, critical. It has the word exterior on it, so I'm not talking about that part. I am talking about this part, the exterior angle. The exterior angle is a reflex. Okay? Angle DFA. That made a straight line. That's a straight angle. Angle D, F, and B. Then it says interior angle. So from here to here. Okay, that is obtuse. All right, now the next part has EB with a line on top. That means we're talking about line segment from E to B. And then we're talking about line segment C to F. And what vocabulary word, if I highlight and just look at those lines that I just highlighted, firstly, I'm thinking intersecting lines because they cross, they have a vertex, but I also see that there's a right angle in the corner, so this is actually perpendicular. And lastly, let's see, from D to A, and from E to B. Okay, so those two lines are just crossing, no particular way. That's intersecting. Okay. Thanks. See you next time.